In our headlines on this Monday, April 28th, here in South Korea. North Korea state media confirms the active engagement of its troops in Russia's invasion of Ukraine, citing commitment to the military partnership signed by Kim Jong-un and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin last year. And on the local political front here, the Democratic Party taps Jae-myung to lead its race to the top office, while the People Power Party is currently engaged in a major voting process. Meanwhile, back on the international front, Iran is reeling in the aftermath of a deadly detonation at a port this past weekend that has led to hundreds of casualties. In a surprise announcement on this Monday, North Korea acknowledged its deployment of soldiers to the battlefield of Russia's war against Ukraine. Our foreign affairs correspondent Jae-myung covers this announcement.
North Korea confirmed for the first time that it has sent troops to support Russia's war efforts against Ukraine. Citing the North's ruling party, the state news agency KCNA said Monday that the troop deployment was ordered by leader Kim Jong-un himself, who made the decision under the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Treaty, which he signed with Russian President Vladimir Putin last year. Article 4 of the treaty says North Korea and Russia shall immediately provide military and other assistance to the other party if it falls into a state of war due to armed invasion from an individual or multiple states. And Putin thanked the North Korean leader for deploying troops to Russia. Russia's TASS news agency reported Monday that Putin said he commends the North Korean soldiers' heroism, adding that friendship and cooperation between Pyongyang and Moscow will continue to grow. Meanwhile, the South Korean government criticized the North's deployment of troops, saying it threatens global security.
We strongly urge the immediate withdrawal of North Korean troops. If the military cooperation between North Korea and Russia continues, we will not stand by idly and will respond firmly with the international community.
Separately, the U.S. State Department also told Reuters that the deployment of North Korean troops to Russia and any support by Russia in return must end, adding that Russia had violated UN Security Council resolutions by training North Korean soldiers. North Korea's announcement comes after Russia on Saturday local time said that all Ukrainian troops were forced out of the western Russian region of Kursk with the help of North Korean troops.
I would like to separately note the participation of the servicemen of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea in the liberation of the border areas of the Kursk region, who provided significant assistance in the defeat of the wedged group of the Ukrainian armed forces.
South Korea's intelligence agency in October of last year assessed that around 12,000 North Korean troops had been deployed to the Kursk region. It also said in January that about 300 of them were killed in combat and another 2,700 were injured. Peunji, Arirang News.
North Korea's confirmation of active combat duty by its soldiers in support of Russia against Ukraine has pundits here pondering over the purpose of this public announcement made on the front page of its state-run daily. Our correspondent Kim Jong-sil has more.
Just days after Russia confirmed North Korea's involvement, Pyongyang made its own public acknowledgement. Experts say the move aligns with Moscow's victory narrative in recapturing the Kursk region and signals stronger ties between the two.
Since President Putin publicly acknowledged the deployment on the 26th, this revelation from North Korea seems to have been made in coordination with Russia.
According to experts, Moscow and Pyongyang likely coordinated their messages to maximize their diplomatic impact. With Russia declaring victory in Kursk, North Korea strategically positioned itself as a key player in this ongoing conflict, both militarily and diplomatically.
North Korea is emphasizing its contribution to the victory, and by framing its involvement as a legitimate defensive action under the North Korea-Russia Treaty, it is reinforcing its diplomatic standing and legitimacy.
The regime has also seized this moment to publicly address the deaths of North Korean soldiers deployed to Russia, a detail previously withheld from the public since their deployment last year.
North Korea has been educating its people about the deployment, and by promising compensation on a national scale, it seems to believe that any potential backlash can be effectively addressed.
Experts suggest Monday's announcement could also set the stage for a summit between Putin and Kim ahead of Russia's Victory Day celebration next month. However, they note that North Korea may prefer a bilateral meeting to avoid Kim being one of many leaders at a multilateral event. Kim Jong-sil, Arirang News.
On the political front, the Democratic Party has elected its candidate for the presidential race on June 3rd. Jae-myung will seek another attempt at the top office. Our correspondent Shin Ha-young reports.
Jae-myung has been confirmed as the DP's presidential nominee after winning 89.77% of the vote.
No surprises as expected. The Democratic Party wrapped up its presidential primaries on Sunday with a victory for former party leader Lee Jae-myung. In his acceptance speech, Lee blamed himself for losing in the last presidential election and vowed to win this time.
I will win and take back the government. I promise to build a new Korea full of hope and energy to repay your trust.
According to the DP, Lee won the votes of over 90% of party members and delegates and over 89% in a public poll of 1 million people. With both results weighted 50% each, he secured 89.77% of the total vote. It's the highest figure ever recorded in a presidential primary among DP-affiliated candidates. His two opponents, Kim Dong-yeon, who came in second with 6.87%, and Kim Kyung-soo, who followed with 3.36%, finished well behind.
Lee Jae-myung, who stayed as the frontrunner throughout the primary, is now running for president as the Democratic Party's candidate for the second time following his presidential bid in 2022.
Lee kicked off his first day as a presidential candidate with a visit to the Seoul National Cemetery on Monday morning. He paid tribute to former presidents, including those from the conservative side, seen as a move to emphasize unity and expand his appeal to centrist and conservative voters.
We must work to unite the country. While I'm the DP's candidate, I'll also do my best to become a candidate for all the people. I hope today's cemetery visit doesn't spark new conflict.
In the afternoon, Lee held a meeting at SK Hynix headquarters on AI memory semiconductors. Ahead of the meeting, he emphasized his goal of making South Korea the top semiconductor country and pledged to quickly pass a special act aimed at boosting the domestic semiconductor industry. Meanwhile, the DP plans to launch its election campaign committee on Wednesday. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
The People Power Party, for its part, is in the process of electing its contender with a name to be announced as early as this coming Tuesday or on Saturday at the latest. Our Kim Do-yeon covers this partisan primary as well as the party's criticism of its rival.
The People Power Party took shots at its rival, the Democratic Party of Korea, on Monday, saying that its convention, where the party announced its presidential candidate, was nothing more than a coronation ceremony.
It was virtually a coronation for Lee Jae-myung, proving that the Democratic Party has become a one-man dictatorship under his leadership, with an overwhelming 89.77% of the vote. Some even said it already felt like a Democratic Party government would be in place in just 40 days.
The comments came as the PPP's second round of voting by eligible PPP members continues throughout Monday until 10 p.m. For this round, the final vote will be calculated by amalgamating the 50% of this vote with 50% from an open public survey. The results of the voting will be announced on Tuesday, and if no one receives more than 50% of the final tally, there will be a runoff between the top two contenders, with the final results coming on May 3rd during the PPP's convention. The four contestants, Kim Moon-soo, An Chol-soo, Han Dong-un, and Hong Jun-pyo, continue to promote their candidacy. Kim focused on media interviews and kept an on-air campaign, doing 3 live interviews and a press briefing in one day. An visited the Daejeon National Cemetery before announcing his pledges for the Chungcheongdo provinces. Han visited the Hyunchungsa Shrine in Asan City. As it's a place to honor the famous Admiral Lee Sun-shin, Han revealed his military and security pledges there. Hong visited the Korea Federation of SMEs to assess the state of the industry. Meanwhile, Acting President and Prime Minister Han Duck-soo's possible declaration of candidacy, which started as a speculation, seems to be emerging as a key variable in the PPP's presidential primary. Local reports confirm the PM's chief of staff and 3 others resigned from their current posts, likely to prepare for the election. Among the 4, Kim Moon-soo is the only one so far who has welcomed the idea of Han running for the presidency. An and Hong have openly criticized the idea, while Han Dong-un has so far refrained from a direct answer, saying he will focus on the primary. That said, the 3 did pledge to merge their camps with the acting president if he does run and if they win the primary. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
Iran is reeling in the aftermath of a deadly detonation at a port this past weekend that has led to hundreds of casualties. Lee Seung-jae covers this tragic event.
A massive explosion at the port of Bandar Abbas on Saturday killed at least 40 people and left at least 1,000 others injured. According to eyewitnesses and surveillance footage, chemicals in an area with shipping containers caught fire, setting off the massive explosion. According to the state-run Islamic Republic news agency, quoting an Iranian official, the explosion was likely due to containers of chemicals, but the official did not elaborate on what type of chemical. Iran's national oil company also explained that the explosion was not related to refineries, fuel tanks, or oil pipelines in the area. The deadly explosion on Saturday was also a grim reminder of another massive explosion in Beirut nearly 5 years ago. The similarity in the smoke created from the blast also shed light on what type of chemical could have been involved. Video and images from CNN showed orange-brown smoke rising from the port, suggesting that a chemical such as sodium or ammonia was involved. The New York Times also reported on Sunday that a person with ties to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said what exploded in the incident was sodium perchlorate, a major ingredient in solid fuel for missiles. Other experts have said that ammonium nitrate was behind the deadly blast, the same chemical involved in the 2020 Beirut explosion. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
In other news, U.S. President Donald Trump is witnessing the lowest 100-day approval rating of any American leader over the past 8 decades. According to the most recent public poll conducted by ABC News, The Washington Post, and Ipsos, 39% approved of his policies, down 6 percentage points compared to February. Pundits are linking this latest finding to public backlash against Mr. Trump's economic policy, with many of the respondents concerned about the risk of a recession. His immigration as well as diplomatic policies have also reignited fears. Trump this week marks his first 100 days at the White House under a second term at the top office. Meanwhile, here in South Korea, Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok believes the most recent tariff talks with the U.S. have paved the path for orderly consultations. Now, this belief was shared to members of the media this past Sunday at Incheon International Airport upon his arrival from Washington, D.C. to attend the spring gatherings of the World Bank Group and the International Monetary Fund, as well as the 2+2 trade talks with the Trump administration's officials. According to Chair, the talks have laid the groundwork for future discussions. And acting President Han Duck-soo has reaffirmed his confidence in cooperation rather than confrontation with regard to South Korea's tariff and trade talks with the U.S. In an interview with The Economist that was published this past Sunday, Han claimed a win-win solution is possible for Seoul and Washington through dialogue. He also highlighted the importance of American troop presence on the Korean peninsula in response to a question about the fate of U.S. soldiers in South Korea by the British outlet. On the cultural front here in Seoul, palaces across the capital city are offering visitors the chance to partake in practices of the past on the royal grounds. Our Joseon reports.
As the guards begin their shift with the sound of drums signaling the start of morning, a new day at Gyeongbokgung Palace starts. This year's K-Royal Cultural Festival, which started on Saturday, is taking place at Seoul's 5 major palaces, Gyeongbokgung, Changdeokgung, Deoksugung, Changgyeonggung, and Gyeonghigung, as well as the Jae-myung Shrine. Visitors can join a program where they experience royal life from the Joseon Dynasty, which lasted from the late 14th century to the turn of the 20th century. One highlight is time travel with King Sejong, where visitors can experience important moments from King Sejong's life, such as the creation of Hangul, the Korean alphabet, and other historical achievements. The biggest feature of this year's festival is that visitors can do more than just watch, they can actually participate. Visitors can act as royal palace apprentices, making royal desserts and trying out royal dances. And they can experience daily life as it was about 500 years ago.
My friend invited me to join the program. The weather was so great, and when I tried it myself, it was easy and so much fun for anyone to enjoy.
This year is the 11th edition of the festival. Last year, more than 960,000 people visited the event, making it one of the Seoul's most visited festivals. The Korea Heritage Service created a variety of programs that match current trends, different age groups, and even special programs for foreigners.
Last year, we focused mainly on performances showing daily life. This year, we wanted to give the audience a chance to join in and interact before the show starts. We also encouraged foreigners to participate, focusing more on hands-on experiences rather than just delivering lines.
In front of Gyeongbokgung Palace, you can enjoy traditional crafts and goods. At Deoksugung Palace, near Seoul City Hall, there is a special program for foreigners called the Emperor's Table. Visitors can taste traditional royal food from the Korean Empire period and hear stories about the food and about Korean history in English. This year, there's a special program called Spring Day at Gyeonghaeru to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the country's liberation. Independence heroes and their families have been invited to special performances at Gyeonghaeru Pavilion in Gyeongbokgung Palace. The festival will continue until May 4th at the 5 palaces and Jae-myung Shrine. Joseon, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, Yeoju's Namhangang Suspension Bridge is poised to officially open later this week, not only to provide people with panoramic sights, but also to offer those interested the opportunity to make new memories. Our Chae-myung has more.
The spring river breeze brings a pleasurable feeling to tourists. A suspension bridge spanning the Namhangang River boasts of grand and beautiful features. This is the first suspension bridge over the Hungang River with a length of 515 meters and an average height of 30 meters, providing magnificent panoramic views of the river.
We are shivering since it is very high up here, and I think it is a great place to visit with the family since it has beautiful landscapes.
Visitors can experience the thrill of looking through the bridge's glass floor, where people can view the river, and at the media glass, which looks like it is breaking when people step on it. There's a special zone at the center of the bridge where a person can propose to their loved one. People can also find an elevator for transportation of the disabled and elderly.
It is great for both adults and children to walk around here on the suspension bridge since it is not steep. It's fun and has wonderful views.
Around the suspension bridge, tourists can explore the 1,000-year-old Shiluksa Temple and Kumumore camping, adding more things to see and enjoy.
We declare the year of 2025 as the first Visit Yeoju year, with the completion of the suspension bridge. We are planning to make Yeoju a brand new city by attracting more than 6 million tourists.
Based on the opening of the Yeoju Ceramic Festival, the suspension bridge will officially open on the first day of next month after final safety inspections are carried out by the end of April. Chae-myung, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you the latest stories from around the globe. Israel conducted an airstrike on Sunday targeting a Hezbollah facility in southern Beirut. The airstrike comes despite the ceasefire established in November 2024. It destroyed a building in the Dia suburb of Beirut, which the Israeli Defense Forces identified as a Hezbollah precision missile storage facility. No casualties have been reported. Before the strike, the IDF issued evacuation warnings to residents, advising them to maintain a distance of at least 300 meters from the site. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun condemned the airstrike and called upon the United States and France, co-guarantors of the existing ceasefire agreement, to intervene and prevent further hostilities. Another Israeli airstrike earlier this month in Beirut's southern suburbs had killed 4 people, including a Hezbollah official. In Vancouver, Canada, a vehicle drove into a crowd at a festival celebrating Filipino heritage, killing at least 11 people. On Saturday at approximately 8:14 p.m. local time, a black SUV entered a pedestrian-only area where the Lapu-Lapu Day Festival, an annual celebration of Filipino culture, was taking place. The vehicle accelerated into the crowd, killing at least 11 people and injuring more than 20 others. The victims' ages ranged from 5 to 65, according to police. The driver, a 30-year-old Vancouver resident known to have mental health issues, was taken into custody after being detained by bystanders at the scene. Police stated that the suspect acted alone and there was no evidence suggesting acts of terrorism. India conducted long-range precision missile tests to demonstrate military readiness on Sunday as tensions between India and Pakistan flared following a deadly militant attack that killed 26 people in Kashmir on April 22nd. India has since announced a series of measures to downgrade its ties with Pakistan, including suspending a key water-sharing treaty and closing borders. Pakistan responded by canceling Indian visas and closing its airspace to Indian aircraft. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif issued a strong warning on Saturday, stating that Pakistan would respond with full force if India decides to suspend the Indus Waters Treaty. Finally, in Rome, the Vatican opened Pope Francis' tomb to the public on Sunday. The late pontiff, who passed away on April 21st at the age of 88, was laid to rest at the Santa Maria Maggiore Church with a single white rose and a simple inscription of his name, Franciscus, on his stone tomb. The simplicity reflected his commitment to humility. Thousands of mourners visited the site, lining up to pay their respects. Following the funeral on Saturday, which drew approximately 250,000 attendees, the College of Cardinals began preparations for the papal conclave, which is expected to begin between May 5th and May 10th. Choi Ji-hee, Arirang News.
Warm spring weather with bright sunshine appeared all over the country. This week, the temperatures will be very similar to the average for this time of year. However, it will only be 8 degrees Celsius in Seoul tomorrow morning. Then the daytime temperature on Wednesday will rise to 25 degrees, so it will be as hot as early summer. As the sunny weather continues, the dryness of the atmosphere is getting worse. Currently, dry weather advisories have been expanded to some western areas, including Seoul. In addition, dry weather warnings are in effect for the mountainous areas of Gangwon-do Province and Gyeongsang-buk-do Province. Tomorrow morning, many areas will start off at single digits, with Gwangju and Daegu at 7 degrees. Daily highs will move up to as warm as 20 degrees across the country. Sunny weather will continue until Wednesday. There's rain forecast nationwide from Thursday afternoon. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
Those are the headlines at this hour here in South Korea. Coming up right after this break is our daily panel session, and today we cover the funeral of Pope Francis. Do stay with us.